Wait a
Going
minute,
live.
I gotta mute my tubes. Okay.
Welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. I hope you all had a happy Halloween. And I guess we're going to talk about Flying Dutchman, the CM Diary, and what's still messed up associated with the targeting. I haven't got any word back, despite asking questions. So let me go ahead and introduce everybody. I'm going to have to do a couple switches here. But from the top, Aussie.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Halloween.
Lady Cat.
Hello.
Ben.
Hello, everyone.
Jeff. Kenny.
Hello, hello.
And Mike.
Howdy doody.
And Two Doors.
I just talked for an hour, and now I'm going to talk for more.
Hi, Brian.
My throat is mad at me today.
I see. And Stormcatcher.
Hello, everyone.
Howdy, everybody.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm going to just have to randomly switch between people, but let's get going. We can skip this. We already talked about this. Oh, this is the interesting part. Brian Two Doors hasn't had a chance to talk about this. Did you see the Wednesday show regarding this? Or
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Okay.
I did. I mean, it is annoying. Now I've got to switch up the Pegasus fleet that I've been planning. I got to switch my Dragoon flag to the appropriate type. That's going to take another day or so. It's just inconsistent. It's annoying that they made this change. It feels like they just want to induce minor refits simply to induce minor refits, which doesn't really jive well. And I'm sure we're going to get into that more when we get into the CM Diary, the other things they have added to induce extra shipyard time being used. We didn't need this on top of that. We already built our stuff planning for Ship 5 taking the damage. And now that Ship 1 is taking the damage, we got to be prepared and make sure to get your fleets ready for pillage, whichever ones are appropriate.
Yeah, I honestly don't, like I said on the show, I don't read that into it. I just think either that or it was just an opportunity with all the players complaining about all the damage that they were getting on Ship 5 that they actually misunderstood what they were saying. And they were more talking about all the damage being concentrated on a single ship, not caring if it was 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, but the fact that they could hit one target in the last raid, and then that ship was pretty much, over half dead. It could be switched out, which can't be done anymore with the flagships, because the flagships, you'd have to repair them in some way. So, and the other issue, the fact that it's inconsistent in the way we're seeing it right now in the FM targets, the time limited campaigns. We're seeing that the first ship is being targeted. Well, if you're participating in the Flying Dutchman, the fifth ship is being targeted. So we don't even have consistency enough to even move forward and decide how to build our Pegasus at this point, because we don't know which one's a screw up, because the two mechanics appear to be quite different from each other.
And the thing is too, with the flagships, it doesn't necessarily matter so much which other ship takes the damage, but flagships, all of the defensive capabilities, or at least the ones more recently, have gone into auras. They're not, the flagship doesn't inherently have higher survival numbers. It's all in auras now. And when you combine that with the fact that flagships, if anything, they will have higher damage or different things that will allow them to do more damage, you want to focus those ships for damage. You don't want to make them tanks, because that takes away from giving your most damaging ship a higher damage buff. And so that's gonna lower your TTK on the target, and you're gonna take more damage anyway. I'd rather, if it had to be a single ship, give me any ship but the flag, and I can build around that and feel like I'm optimal. But if you make the flagship that much, then I feel like the flagship should have lower damage or higher survival or both to compensate that it should be in that tank role. And to make that a little more obvious to players as well, I'm going to have to switch off a CIC for Pegasus to get three corrosive CICs and 2 pen CICs, because now I have to make ship 1 my pen CIC.
Yeah, and we're
For
going to get
example.
the flag, and hopefully it's reflected in the flag that we get in Pillage next week. Like I said before, the flags were originally meant to take the damage. Sometimes they had 10 times the health of the regular ships, or they had higher resistances and things of that nature that made it okay. But I guess the players were using them in a way that Kixeye didn't approve of, so they started to transition to what we saw, and then they did the survival thing, which sort of made a lot of things not as defensible as they were before. So, yeah, it honestly, to me, it feels like an honest mistake, and it feels like one that they're probably going to change in 3 weeks after everybody's refit the other way. And that's the problem that Kixeye has always had, even with the new team. The old team would always wait for a long time to make a change. And at that point, everybody would complain at that point. If they made the change, fixed it day one, realizing they made a mistake, then it wouldn't have been a big issue. But if everybody spends all this time moving to this new mechanic, then they're going to be quite upset a second time. So,
And more people will walk away.
I
so
mean, the accuracy damage has to go somewhere. They can't just, everything can't be splash.
but they could do, I don't know anything about the code, but it seems like there could be a way to, if everything's stacked and within a certain microscopic range of each other that appears to occur at that point, have it be random at that point. But that's not what we're seeing. Like if everything's within, I don't know what units they use, but 2 units of each other, basically of being stacked, then when an accuracy-based thing, when it fires at it, it has a 1 in 5 chance of hitting any of the targets, thereby distributing the damage in some way.
The problem is it's unavoidable damage because we can't really do a whole lot to fix it. I mean, we all buffed our 5th ship as best as we could. It helped some. It didn't help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad idea though, because then you could build your ships all the exact same way.
Yep.
And you'd have more or less the same result, factoring in evade RNG. The role of your ships wouldn't matter so much. Like I have Guiding Scrambler 3 on my 5th Praetorian, and now I just put it on my 1st because of this change. And that's taking away something from that ship that would otherwise be there, or resist special, or a damage special, or something. But if you had the ability to build everything the same, like if I put Hyper 30s on all of them, for example,
Yeah.
Everything is going to work exactly the same. The evade's going to be the same. It's all going to be very consistent in that regard. And it's just the damage rolls. As long as they don't make the damage rolls so bad that, as long as they make it impossible for a ship to be completely killed from full and a normal run of a target, if you're geared well enough, then that's not a bad solution.
Yeah. I just don't know if they're capable of doing it, because I think that's what they originally wanted to do when they started throwing it on the 5th ship. When they took it off of the flag, off the one in the number 1 spot. But yeah, it's we're going backwards to the change that Kixeye made 2 years ago to correct the issue, and I don't think the people that are making these decisions were around at that point to understand why they did that. And now they think they've fixed it, and in reality, they've just gone backwards 2 years and recreated the same problems that we had before. So,
Or they could give everything priority targeting, and just every instance of reload, it will recheck for the highest health ship, so that it's going to be a pretty even wear on all of your ships. but that seems difficult.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna get to the escalation stuff that they announced in the CM diary. So, if there's nothing else anybody else has on the accuracy, we do have a new calendar. Pillage, as we've been talking about, is next week. The November raid, which we're going to have some more information about, and then we have 3 FM cycles again. It'd be nice to have 3 raid cycles, but we have 3 FM cycles. We had 4 this month, so which is nice. I think the 4 on the first month leading up, having the extra week leading up to the first raid after a transition is good. So gives you an extra week to build things, bounty, and then I don't know. Like I talked about last show, I really wish they would run these CM diary calendars from raid to raid instead of calendar months, which don't really have that large of an impact on the game. But if we could understand what was going on between two raids, because they do make a change, because a lot of people thought, oh, we don't have pillage, and I'm like, well, we got an extra month, so maybe early November they'll throw in pillage, and now we got to find out about it, less than a week before it starts. So,
I'm sorry, can I say something real quick on the change of accuracy damage again?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Because it's targeting your first ship, you're going to want to be upgrading your first ship, the flagship, which generally has a higher cost, unique kits to do it, and it will cost more kits, as opposed to upgrading your 5th ship for the normal survival. So I think that's a little sneaky, especially since we just got a bunch of normal Pegasus upgrade kits, and I was going to upgrade my 5th ship until this happened, so now I need to get the flagship upgrade kits and hope the upgrades are the same to get the most value out of the upgrade. Bit of a shame.
Yeah, and I can't recall. Do those show up in pillage, the upgrade kits, or are we not expect to see those until the raid?
I believe they showed up in pillage.
Okay.
Dragoons, at least. When we got the flag Dragoon.
Okay.
There was also VXP tokens for it.
Yeah, VXP tokens is really necessary. So, yeah, because otherwise we don't have after they've made the changes to going to the survival from resistance, there's absolutely no other way you can do it besides VXP weekend or VXP tokens. There's no other way. I mean, I guess you could kill your ship a couple thousand times. I'm not even sure how, figure out what way to kill your flagship several thousand times in order to get it ranked up on whatever target. But, going into the, sending these things in the FM target would probably kill it. But otherwise, there's really no other way to do it. Okay. All right. Well, let's see what else we got. All right. As we brought BP next week, Pillage and Feast or Famine TLC, which we've seen before. I have a little blip on what that is. It's for the suppressor.
With upgrades?
What?
With upgrades for the suppressor?
Yeah, it's that one. I don't know if it has upgrade tokens. We'll know in a minute, though. And
yeah, but we will not have the 124 of 126 garrison like we've had.
Well,
brand new targets, they said.
Yeah, it says new targets. So, yeah, stay tuned. And, we'll see what that brings us. And one more click. And this is the Feast or Famine campaign from August. I'm assuming there's not going to be any changes to the prizes.
And you'll finally have a chance to get those suppressor upgrade kits.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
get to plug in for them.
And you have a chance to get the 12-hour suppressor upgrade tokens. So
Woohoo, 12 hours.
Let's go,
And I'm
boys.
why they did this, but yeah, and some of them I understand why they do the 12 hours. This one I don't understand why they did the 12 hours, but so yeah, and check and no compensation. This is back to the accuracy issue. Yeah, I did file a ticket on this. And that's another point I want to bring up. Has, at least in the FM, I do my FM mostly by autoing the 129, and I was doing it before. I hit a bunch of them before I go to bed, and I would swap some ships out, but I would take about probably averages about an hour and 55 autoing them, and I could get 4 or 5 whatever done by swapping out the last ship. And then the change happened, the change in the preferential or the targeting, the accuracy based targeting, and I was taking like 2 hours and 10 minutes per target, and then the next day, yesterday, I was down to like an hour and 40 minutes, but it's still concentrated on the flagship. Has anybody else seen the actual damage in the FM targets go down? Or is it just me? They went up.
I only hit the 120s, 121s, so I don't know.
A bit for me. I think down about 15 to 20 minutes from where I usually am, and my damage is focused on the flagship.
Okay. Did you see the tick up and then the tick down, or did you miss that?
I don't think I saw the tick up because I had to refit my flagship to get it ready for this.
Okay.
I'm thinking the same damage. It's just moved from 5 to 1.
Okay.
It's just, and I can drive to make sure the different ship is being hit, so at least they're not just targeting 1 or 5. But the problem is with the target, a lot of the damages of those missiles, as you know, and they're coming from 2 different sides.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't drive on the missile side of your fleet to take the hit. So you can't even it out while driving. You can only swap out your boats, like you were saying. You can't, while driving on at least the 131, it's really impossible to be on the right side of it all the time.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because of the long distance of the missiles.
They're coming from both sides.
You could be hit from multiple angles.
Yeah. Whereas before, my 5th ship was ready for those missiles, was always being targeted, so I was able to do a little bit more.
On the 131s?
Yeah.
You can avoid them altogether if you use land and get your timing right. Just saying. Not that I even do the FM anymore, hardly. But
Yeah, I haven't been able to avoid them.
If Soggy Mango's out there, he can come on the show and demo how he does it. He gets some.
the one that taught me.
Yeah, he gets some down. Last I heard, for the 131 for less than 7 minutes. So
It's
I
not
want to
too
see
bad.
that.
It's really not too bad. You just have to really know the timing, get your timing just right, because the missile will not hit you through the land. But you got to get your timing right so you can take out the missile and get out of the way of the second missile before it tries to hit you. And then use a rocket on the missiles at the top. There's a path it takes.
You're pinching then.
You're pinching those. And there's a path that he takes that really helps keep the damage down. But you do have to pay really good attention because the timing is so important.
No wonder I'm doing badly then. I have an attention deficit.
I can't do it as well as he does. But I know how. I know the path. I know how to do it. So I'm not able to. Just not as good, but that's okay. I'm just having fun now. I'm not even trying to get it all anymore. I can't. So have fun or
Bye, everybody.
later.
Good night, Brian.
So yeah.
All right, can we go to the next slide?
Hey, Derpy.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing?
Oh, pretty
Hello.
good. Yourself?
Pretty good. Y'all hear me okay?
Yep. All good.
All good.
So, anything on this before we move on, Derpy? Since I just added you.
Not on this one, although I was a couple, not to beat a dead horse, but the accuracy update.
Hey, go ahead.
I don't like it that
Oh, that
much.
horse needs beating as much as it can.
I wrote up a forum post, and one of the solutions I suggested was one of the same ones you had, where if the ships are all within a very close range of each other, it gets targeted randomly. The other one I thought was, and this is a little bit more issues, is a kind of reverse priority targeting thing, where the ship with the highest health gets targeted first. So those are two possible solutions, I guess, to spread out the damage. So that's something else I was thinking about, because I don't like the current system. I think it was better before the 9.44 update.
Yeah.
But are you all finding that when you're hitting things on driving manually controlling everything, damage is even? Or is it, and only auto is where things are disproportional? Or is it everything?
Everything.
Well, everything except for, like I mentioned earlier, everything except for the Flying Dutchman targets.
Okay.
We're what I'm saying, we're getting, the flag is getting the damage in all the other targets, but in the Flying Dutchman, the fifth one is getting it. Are you seeing that?
Okay. Well, what I tested, what I did mostly in the 131s, is that when I drove, everything was perfectly spread out. It was as I expected, as it should be. That was when I drove.
Mhm.
When I autoed, ship 1 and ship 5 are both taking a lot more damage than ships 2, 3, and 4. So that was my personal findings.
Okay.
So for driving, it worked great for me. Autoing, which is how I like to do my Forsaken mission on auto, things were disproportional. So I don't like the system. But I was finding driving's good, and I haven't heard that from many other people so far.
But you were only experimenting with the one target.
That's correct. If you pay me minimum wage from Kickstarter, then I'll go experiment everything. I'm joking about that.
Well, Hefe, seeing you auto, which one do you auto? The 129?
It was the 131s for me. No,
Yeah, no,
I'm
I'm just saying. Have you tried driving one to see if that...
driving the
try driving
131.
No, I'm
Driving
talking
the
to Hefe.
131. Okay.
Because he's autoing the 129s and he's taking X amount. Just try driving one to see if you get a different result.
I could.
Because if Derpy's saying that it's more proportional if you drive, just see what happens in that. Maybe just as an experiment.
It's
Just a one-off.
I would, I don't really prefer to drive them. That's why I'm.
No, I'm just saying, just a one-off, just to see if it makes a difference.
Driving makes a difference.
Yeah. Okay.
I do like your idea, Derpy, though, about accuracy hitting the highest health ship.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good idea.
Didn't Kenny say that?
The highest health, or
Or the highest percent.
yeah, highest percent. That's what I was going to say. Highest percent health, because that's more the way it works. So it's
That could work out.
You could get into some issues there if your ships aren't built the same. So you could probably mess things up a little bit if they aren't built the same, which is why the random, if they're within 2 or 6 units of each other, that seemed to be a better solution to me. Although I would guess coding, from my perspective, coding wise, it would be easier to do a reverse priority targeting thing. But
yeah,
the point is that whatever solution we end up going for, if they wanted to fix this issue, I'm sure that they could fix the issue.
Another thing they could do is just make it so you can put the flagship in any spot, but only have one flag in the fleet.
or just put it back the way it was.
Yeah.
Just back away would be better.
That's the simple one that they know how to do.
Can they get rid of surviving?
I don't try. It just seems like the easiest and simplest thing is quickly to put it back the way it was prior, and then work out some other solution in the meantime. Yeah, it's I don't want to be overbearing about it, but it seems like really the simplest solution for the short term, and then introduce the idea to players that we're going to do this, as opposed to dropping and announcing it after they did it. That's another, thing that doesn't make me terribly happy about it.
Yeah, and is this going to affect every target in the game? Like, what about TLC? Sure. Okay.
What the hell?
It's making noise.
Who's doing that?
Not me.
Might be me, but I think I'm good now.
Okay.
Are TLCs in the future going to have the problem with the first and fifth ship? I mean, are we going to have to refit every single fleet we use for any PvE target?
I just wish they would announce why. I wish they would give us some information of why we see something different in the Flying Dutchman than as at the very start. Why are we seeing something different in the target, the event that is ongoing versus all the other targets? Why is there a different mechanic?
Right.
Which is really confusing people.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely just put it back the way it was. I mean,
and then come up with an elegant solution afterwards.
An elegant solution would be wonderful.
just leave it alone. Just put it back the way it was, and people can swap a ship out. If the fifth ship takes too much damage, move it.
Yeah.
Put it in the other ship.
Yeah,
That's the easiest way. It's the best way. It's the way it's been going for years. Like you said, it's 2 years ago. They changed it. Just leave it alone.
They won't put it back the way it was because that'd be them having to admit they screwed up, did something wrong.
Well, then they're going to have to give people coins to fix the problem.
No, it's not even just giving people coins, because this is going to live forever. They also need to make changes in how they just develop flagships.
Yeah.
And design them. And then if they feel like, oh, we've made a mistake in that direction, because that's what they did. 'Cause, if you remember some of these flags, especially the ones that had the healing abilities, that was the ship that was targeted. It had the healing ability, but it had 10 times the armor of the other ships, so it wasn't that big of an issue.
Yeah.
So, or they had they started off with a base resistance that was about 5% to 8% higher than everything else. So with resistances, you could pop that way up there and it would be an effective flag. But now with survival and everything being flattened out, they're not good. They're not good tanks. And
you know what? If they would go back to a 3-rate cycle and kind of slow the content down like we've been asking for years, then maybe they would have time to deal with some of these problems.
Well, they created this one just by not understanding what the players were asking for.
Yeah.
That's number one. They went and made changes and think they fixed it, but they misunderstood what the problem was, which I went through for way too long on Wednesday.
But they haven't really fixed it, though.
No. I'm sorry. I had air quotes. I'm not on webcam.
Yeah.
But they quote unquote fixed it. And they think there was a problem.
If you're saying they think they fixed it, how can they think they fixed it? You're taking all the damage on one ship, so now we're going to put it on another ship that we can't do anything with.
Yeah.
The worst ship of all, because you can't put it anywhere else.
All right. Let's all agree that we dislike this, and let's get to the...
we need to get the
Yes,
list
Mom.
of all the reasons we dislike it.
Yes, Mum.
Well, I'm just looking, and we're like halfway through the show already, and we haven't even gotten to the CM Diary yet.
Well, there's not much to talk about in the CM Diaries, so we're fine with this because this is the big issue in my mind. Because I don't know how to design my ships at this point. Right now, honestly, I have in my dock or in my shipyard, I have my Praetorians in there now. I'm adding 2 of the new M's and another X to my flag.
Can I ask a potentially dumb question?
Another one?
You're in the right place.
I haven't hit my quota yet. But how was it before the fifth ship? I mean, what was...
It was targeting. Okay, it was targeting the flagship, but that's what I was saying. There was a period of time, if you went right before that, where the the flagship had 10 times the armor of the other ships. Or prior to that, it had base resistances that were 5 to 8% higher. And once you built that up, you could get those resistances on the flagship. That's why they made the change to survival.
Was that
to like
always that way?
99.88 or 99.98%. So it wasn't taking that much damage.
So before the ship 5 problem, that was always the answer. The flag took most of the attempted damage, but resisted it.
Resisted it or had a ton of armor or both?
But a ton of armor would just increase the coins for repair, right?
No, because the armor was fixed by the total repair time was still the same, but it had more armor points.
Oh, okay. Armor points don't contribute the way armor does then.
Well, most of the stuff you see out there has you're gonna have to take a long look through your ships to see any a lot of current ships that have repair time associated with the armor they contribute.
Right.
Most of them are.
So it's 3 changes that contribute to this then.
We need a historical retrospective video. Somebody needs to make one of those.
I did that on Wednesday. I was trying to explain all of it. It's,
You did a good job.
Yeah,
But I think,
it's explained. Yeah.
but is it understood?
I don't know.
Well, actually, I guess my dumb question was, isn't that the right fix, is to go back to that?
The problem with that was that players were finding, they were finding exploits for it. So they were using the flag in the ways that they didn't like, and they didn't like the fact that we were getting the resistances so high. We were, like I said, 99.98% resistances once you included the auras and everything we would do to that ship. That's why they tore it down with the whole survival refactor that they did to us.
But couldn't the survival refactor have done the same thing as to make that flagship still the target, but also the most resistive or survivalistic?
That was I was part of that was the last time I think I was part of any server testing, and that was my main complaint. And they said they were going to deal with it because I'm trying to remember what ship I was using. I think it was my Greta Inferno Dragon, and I'm like, I think that's what. But I'm like, no matter what I do, I'm still taking way more damage on this ship than I should have been before. And maybe that's why I haven't been back. But it's I was seeing the flagship problem before it happened, and I was explaining it to Wrong Thinker, and he was like, "Okay, well, we'll fix that." And
but that's we're talking about a bunch of different fixes. That's the actual fix. I mean, the real fix to the problem is to get back to the way it was, only with survival instead of.
Yeah, except for they're trying to make. Yeah, I mean.
Well, how else can you do it? I mean, all those other ways, shifting your ships between one and another are just a pain in the behind.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to look at the scale of what they're actually doing and just do sort of survivability test, I think, as far as, how much damage the different ships are taking with different driving styles. And
so second dumb question is, when they're firing on 131s from both sides, you can't decide which one's being hit. But if targets are more linear like they normally are, where you're running down channels and stuff, you can always make sure that you're rotating. I mean, I used to do that with damage, like back before they messed it up. Make sure that the most red or the least red ship was in the lead, so you could even out the damage. The design of the targets actually is going to factor into this now, because if you can drive linearly and always make sure you have the one you want in front, this actually is pretty good, because you can control which one is being hit.
Yeah.
But it's going to come down to the targets being able to shoot.
I mean, because you also got to consider skirmish targets, where you got ships coming at you from every direction. we've just finished dealing with Siege, where it's what's going to come from different angles, and you can modify it. But with something like Skirmish, where things are going to be coming around you from every angle, having to micromanage your ships to make sure the right one is behind or in front, depending on that's I think it's going to be a tougher driving challenge than I think a lot of the player base is.
And there's still a lot of people that love to auto, and this is really going to screw them up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's at least a third of the people say, I don't even want to play something unless I can auto it. And so they're going to be really pissed because they're going to have to drive just to make this dynamic work. That sucks.
Right. Let's move on. I'm sure we'll bring up the accuracy thing in a minute, but let's see. All right. This is what people were clamoring about earlier. Let me see. The current TLC, or the Flying Dutchman. So we'll get back to that. The Chimera Raid, which starts in a couple of weeks, we're going to get we've already explained that we're going to be getting a new flagship in Pillage next week. The following week, we're going to get the new Perseus experimental flagship, CIC. So we're going to get a CIC for that one. I'm not sure if we're going to get a CIC, the non-experimental one, in the Pillage. And now we already see escalation on the CICs that we've yet to use, the Nessus and Turin. And we're getting another Interceptor.
That's going to be really popular, getting upgrades before we've used them once.
Well, they're announcing them now.
What? Sorry,
they're announcing the upgrades now, or they're announcing the escalation for the CICs now. They might not come out until Pillage or the Raid. So they're giving us information ahead of time, which is positive.
Well, they're coming out in the Raid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. This is the section where we're talking about the Raid. So the escalation ones are coming out during the Chimera Raid, the one that's going to come out in 2 weeks. So that's where they're coming out. That's in the briefing. But in theory, you could have never put these ones on, got enough points some other way, and then went ahead and put these ones on fresh. But
I just took new CICs or instant refit, not this 14, 15-hour stuff.
And maybe they're going to have a different build time. I mean, that would probably ease the pain of just use them for maybe people will use them for a couple of hours after spending 14 hours times 5 ships, so 70 hours refitting them, and then use them for a couple of hours and then fit over to these ones. I don't know, but the one we all knew was coming.
What a great time for Praetorian Hall upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
Just in time.
Yep.
It's not like our shipyards are going to be busy with not only building our fleet for the Raid, but upgrading it or refitting it after. Now we have to do this for the Praetorians and tie up the same shipyard. Sorry.
I haven't even finished my Praetorians yet. And there's upgrades. I'm just...
I haven't finished mine either, and I'm only building my first Pegasus now, so I don't know when it's going to get done.
I'll be right back. You guys can talk about Praetorian upgrades, because I'm sure there's plenty to talk to about this, because we saw it coming, and we're going to see the new targets coming after this raid is over. So I'm assuming that the next, the 139, I think, is the next one.
There's a 133 that's going to be coming out, replacing the 131 with similar
Okay,
damage.
133. Okay, yeah. So I'm assuming the 133 is going to assume some level of Praetorian Hall upgrades. So, but yeah, I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. I honestly wouldn't mind the upgrades if it wasn't in my shipyard. It's because those upgrades tie up my shipyard, and I can't get fleets done to do things I need to get done. And we don't get tokens to speed up the upgrades. You know,
We didn't. Go on,
it's
keep going.
laughable that they lowered the build times on our ships. Yeah, they did. That's wonderful. But then they added the upgrade time, which makes it even longer, and we can't even use tokens for it. So really, they've just made it take longer.
I think they should give us another shipyard, which you can only use for the current raid ship.
I think they should give us 4 shipyards or 5.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to ask for 20. Couldn't you? One for each slot. But
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, because we've gone to a 2-month cycle, we need a shipyard where we can just use for the raid ships.
Or just take the upgrades out of the shipyard and put them back.
No, well, oh yeah, that too. No,
Oh,
yeah, but even so, you're trying to build your raid ship. Then you know, people are still trying to build their Praetorians or whatever else they need.
Right.
You know, you're not going to be able to do it.
Right.
So we need a specific raid shipyard.
They should give us a garrison shipyard, a siege shipyard.
That's what I was saying.
So,
That's all. That's all kind of complicated. I have to go in a minute or two, so I just want to give my 2 cents on the upgrades.
Yep.
I've always seen upgrades for whatever ships as, generally speaking, optional. I had 3 of my Dragoons still at U0 this last raid. They're going to stay at U0. I generally find them as optional. Yes, the upgrades will help decrease damage, but it's the same path. It's the same build with upgrades, without the upgrades. They are going to help, but I haven't seen a case where upgrades are 100% mandatory. And that may be an unpopular opinion, or other people find other things. But
Patterns.
that's what I've seen.
Saturn flag was mandatory.
yeah,
I didn't use Saturns. I used Nemesis. So
this last raid on my account, I had fully upgraded, Dragoons, all built, easy targets, all right? Lower repair time, nothing over 45 minutes. On my alt, I have the same build, just they're all U0. He couldn't do one target with me driving, it's my alt, for less than 3 hours damage per target. Same build, just not upgraded. So it's the same driving pattern, everything.
retrofit levels, R&D, all that was the same.
Yes. Yes, he just didn't. They weren't upgraded on that one. So I believe they are tuning the targets to upgraded fleets.
I hope not.
I mean, just from that experiment.
Yeah, I always worked on getting the 5th ship upgraded first. Now I'll have to work on getting the flag upgraded first.
Yep. Well, like I said, I gotta go. So y'all take care.
See you
All right.
later. Thanks for
See you,
coming
Debbie.
on.
Have a good one, Derpy the Moo.
So what do you think, Aussie?
Yeah, I think you should get the new Interceptor ship.
Should that be my priority?
Yeah, that'll be your priority. Yeah, and then upgrade it. You got to upgrade it.
Yeah, I'm sure the upgrades are going to work out really well. So,
One thing I noticed in the CM diary and info that's been out so far, there's no specialty hall yet for the assault cycle.
Shh.
but that comes after That comes out.
Didn't it come out in the first raid?
Yeah.
But normally they announce it way ahead.
Yep.
So maybe there won't be one, which would be at least one good thing.
Less junk to build. And upgrade.
Unless you have coin, unless you're spending coin, you're not going to get everything. I mean, you can't do everything. You'll just have to pick and choose your battles and what's important to you and how you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Just
See,
have
this is the thing. I mean, I get not complaints saying, when I'm doing the raids or some of the events, why do you try and get so many points? You don't need them, right? And my biggest thing is if there's a leaderboard prizes, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
Because that has helped me so much in upgrades. You get upgrade kits or tokens, whichever, and that's helping.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. And you have
my-
more time to do that. Not everyone has that time.
Yeah, I know that. No, I'm just saying, there are people who go, why do these people get so many points? There's some that go ridiculous, and coin their way all the way to the top, where I don't coin.
Right.
But I still try and get up at least in the top 50.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the top 10 if I can,
You don't do it
just to get the leaderboard prizes.
You don't do it.
And I think that's how I did my what's the one for the next raid? What's it called again?
Pegasus, the upgrades. for the
Pegasus. Yeah, that's how I got all mine upgraded so quick.
You don't do it for the prizes. You do it to make Kixeye money.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Because it makes everyone else coin.
They should be giving you a kickback on that.
Yeah, I think they should, yeah. Because that's what I do sometimes. I just do it just for that sometimes. When there's no leaderboard prizes, I do it just to see who's going to keep coining.
Right. Let's see what's next. Oh, the Flying Dutchman. Mike, how's your Flying Dutchman going?
Mike's gone to sleep. He left, I think. I don't know if he came back. He left. He's a message in the side chat.
Yeah, but that was a while ago.
That was a while ago. He's back.
Oh, he's back. There he is.
Okay. How's the Flying Dutchman treating you?
A little over 100,000.
Okay.
How much? How much?
Oh, let me look, so I'm not a liar.
So I remember
He's gonna rub it in now.
Wednesday there was a conversation.
That was a different mic. We were talking to a different mic that night.
Yeah, well, there was a conversation that was going on. He was complaining about an hour and a half damage. And I would say you're going to be fine with
that's
it.
right.
You can get it instant in the dock. Have you got there yet?
I just recently got it instant on the map.
Nice. Okay. So it's not.
There was a learning curve involved.
I forget which expletives you were using towards them.
Yeah, it was something about
backsides.
a backside misspelled, and
Uh-huh.
I wasn't too happy. I don't think I'm at 105,000, and I really didn't play it a whole lot today.
Mm-hmm.
I got some little bit of advice, and I'm putting that to work, and it's like.
What's the advice?
Razor tails.
Oh, you're grinding off which target are you hitting?
3.
Oh, okay. I was.
And you got 105.
Yeah, but that, no,
And 1,000 points.
wait a minute. Hold on.
Go ahead.
I was using the silverfish.
Mm-hmm.
Taking anywhere between. I think I did one per actually. I sent you a picture. I think it was like 12 minutes, and I was never able to duplicate that. So it was always around 20, 25 minutes. So I kind of did a bunch of those, and then said the hell with it. And I was working on the FM, and I will give RB credit. He sent me a note and said, try Razor Tails. And so I tried them, and you can do those for map repair.
You really weren't here on Wednesday because we did Razor Tails.
I wasn't here Wednesday. Probably
He was there in spirit. But
I
not
was-
in
Hey, what do you do for this one? You can't say if you were listening to the show.
Maybe it was the spirit. Maybe it was the spirits.
This time you could actually say you weren't.
he was there in spirit, not in mind. So yeah,
Well, maybe it was the actual spirits.
yeah, you were there with spirits, not in mind. But yeah,
I don't remember much about Wednesday. I'll be honest with you.
okay, all good. Now, how is everybody else? I'm hitting the 10 mostly. I get about 20 minutes of damage. Most of it's concentrated on the fifth ship. Sometimes it's pretty much all on the fifth ship, where I'm getting, about 18 minutes of damage on my fifth ship in the dock. Sometimes it's down to like 10 or 11 minutes. So it's only like 5 or 6 minutes to repair the fleet. But yeah, it's all concentrated on the last one. But yeah, my damage is usually in the low 20s on the 10.
Well, I'm kind of getting them that good.
The 10s?
Oh, in fact, I'll try one here in a minute.
Okay. And then Lady Cat and I had a few of the 55s last night. And, I'm not sure what at least in the sector I'm in, we're not seeing a lot of people that are co-oping them because all their numbers ends with zeros. But the people with, the messed up numbers that Aussie hates, are co-oping them because you split the first 10,000 and then everybody gets a 10,000 bonus that was part of it. My first blush at the whole thing without seeing the target was like, well, one of us sits on it and the other one circles around and tries to distribute the stun value of the UAVs that the Silverfish launch. And it worked out real well for me. I was
Not
getting,
so much the Lady Cat, eh?
well, it was better than soloing it, because besides the time where it drove up on the rocks, that's not a good thing to do in these targets. But if we kept it in the water, if we kept it in the middle of the map, you were getting about an hour of damage, right?
Yeah.
And I was from instant on the map to instant in the dock, circling around because I was taking all the drone damage. So basically ignore the drones. They're not really doing anything. The thing I also do that I'm not sure everybody's doing is I use the shift button and aim at the Flying Dutchman.
Do you find them splitting up on you?
No.
See, I've had it where I'm clicking away and the fleet's not staying stacked. Talking about the fish. So
I had some trouble getting mine to go where I wanted it to go.
that too.
It's like it sort of stops.
Click
and
like crazy and they just sit there.
Yeah, I had mine do that a few times.
And like at the top of the map,
Yeah.
there's dead zones that you click on. You click there and it won't move.
Maybe that's what's happening then, because it was at the top towards the top of the map.
You used to have that a while ago too in targets.
Yeah.
That you'd click on the edge of the map, or you're still on the map, on the water, and it wasn't really the map.
That was
Yeah.
wasn't that during the period of time where we had like the pop-up walls and all that kind of stuff too?
No.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
No,
I know there was a range though, right on the edge of didn't have to be right on the edge. It was a fair bit in. You'd be doing something. You go to click over there, and his ships ain't going. You just don't go there.
I've had that many times. You click like a madman, and it's just they are not.
Yeah, it's just like clicking off the water altogether. It just doesn't do anything.
Oh, okay. I was talking about in the middle of the map.
You gotta try.
Oh,
There
okay.
would be places that you would click and it would not respond.
Oh, I haven't
And
had
I
that.
was assuming that there was some.
There was subs involved. It was one of the ones with subs. Was it the Fangtooths or what was the other sub?
There was also the issue with the assault one with the Manicore is where if you sunk the turret ship and you accidentally clicked where that thing sunk, you wouldn't move.
Oh yes, yeah, I remember that one. Yeah,
Oh, that, but you had that little square that showed you where that thing sunk, right?
Well, if you clicked on it, yeah.
Yeah.
You clicked on it.
Well, you'd
But
know.
but you weren't supposed to, that was a problem. But yeah, you weren't supposed to be.
I'm sticking my foot in it, aren't I?
Yeah, but yeah, you shouldn't have the opportunity from the player standpoint to like, okay, because there's no sign on the water until you actually click on it that you're clicking on a ship that you already sunk.
Or you could hover over it and you get this orange square.
yeah, but if you're trying to kill a target, you're not going to hover around. You want to move your ships. You want to move them.
Right.
You want to move them for a reason.
Happy Capula on me. Get on top. Get on top. And it wouldn't move.
Well, that wasn't my fault. But,
All right. We can talk about that. I'm going to try a 10 and see what happens here. If I'm successful.
And the other one was the Cannoneer. The Cannoneer targets. The Cannoneer slash the Ironclads. Yeah. There was a lot of dead spots in those targets. And I assume it was areas where they had originally planned to have pop-up walls, but they forgot about them. I don't know. But there was a lot of dead spots where you couldn't.
Yeah, I remember that too.
You would just stop.
Yeah.
That was annoying. So,
well, how's everybody's chest going?
You beg your pardon?
My chest is fine.
yeah.
My chest moved. You jinxed, Lady Cat. You jinxed me. I clicked on a chest and opened it, and it was the wrong type. And it's like,
well, guess what? It's not your fault because those damn chests.
Not your fault.
Ticket.
I sent a ticket. They just sent it on to Kicks. They're not even. Nobody's going to be able to.
But then you added insult to injury. It gave me something I was full of, so it gave me nothing for my.
I gave you a shit? I'm sorry.
I clicked on assault, because assault was in the top left corner, because that's all I
She
need.
wanted pepper.
Oh, boy. Here. Going down real quick.
Assault, and then I clicked in the top left again. Only I didn't get an assault test. I got a skirmish test.
Exactly what I just did.
So I sent a ticket in, and then the next time I went to claim stuff, I paid attention. As soon as you clicked on assault, that top left changes to skirmish. And what was really weird, if you just sit there and don't claim anything, it'll just switch all by itself. So you don't know what you're getting. And I don't know if that's a trick. I mean, it's definitely not a treat.
Lady Cat,
Yeah.
not knowing is half the fun.
Yeah.
The uncertainty.
Yes.
And you got to remember, these chests are random.
Didn't I
So
tell
now
you
the whole thing's random.
I don't think they're equally weighted random, and I think that's what I'm hoping. What Lady Cat was trying to get at was what kind of drops are you seeing? Because I know Aussie, you were doing a lot of the trick or treat ones, and you were getting a lot of skins at the beginning, weren't you?
Aussie.
I don't know.
36 minutes.
I've actually done pretty well with the assault prizes that I've gotten. I've gotten mostly stuff that I've needed that I didn't get because since I didn't do the raid for the Pegasus, I didn't get anything for the Pegasus. Then I was able to pick up some BXP tokens, a bladed pinion, a couple things I needed. I got some junk too, but overall I've been pleased with the prizes. I think it's the mechanism of getting the prizes.
I've been doing the trick or treat chest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about a 50-50 drop rate between a skin or something I'm full on.
Yeah.
I got one crew though.
I've only opened six chests. The first 3 were skins for the Praetorian. And then the others were base parts, energy, and metal, which I was already full on. So that was a bit annoying.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah. It was the evade crew that I got.
Ooh, that's handy.
Well, which one was it? Was it 12% one or the 25?
The 25%.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And does anybody have the silver salty drop? Is it the silver salty or the normal one? I guess nobody's had that drop for them. I have yet to claim any chest. I also have over 100,000, but I'm yet to claim any of them because I'm so uncertain on what to claim at this point because, the siege and assault, there's like one thing I want in each one, and the assault's the one that I want, but it's like there's 21 items that I could be getting. I don't know what the odds are. So, is anybody opening an assault chest?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Just told you a minute ago. Don't even
If you were watching the show,
Were you
you
watching the show?
You got some stuff that you needed. You got some stuff that you needed because you didn't.
Yeah,
give
because I didn't have the stuff, but I was getting Pegasus, mostly Pegasus stuff. I did get a Saturn, something for my Saturn, which I didn't need, so I did get junk too.
Mhm.
But most of the chests I opened had the stuff I needed more than it had the stuff I already had.
But you're in a different situation.
Yeah, I'm in a different situation because there is more that I don't have. Where what you need is a lot more limited than what I need.
Yeah, I basically only want the bladed pinion.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think Stormcatcher wants bumped up, so if you want to drop me for a minute.
Okay. Sure. Okay. So,
I found the mystery about the never not ending, when you're waiting for the anchor or whatever it is to show up. Figured out what the mystery was.
what are you talking about? The anchor?
Or it doesn't always end when you think you've killed the last one. And Aussie was saying, "Oh, you didn't kill one of the spawned ones."
Mm-hmm.
There's one in some of them that are spawned in the black. Not spawn, but actually start in the black, and they come out like at their leisure later on.
How are you supposed to tell the difference?
You can't. You have to go kill all of them in order, unless
To find it.
he tends to be drifting around on his own, though. The other ones are aiming at you. The one that's drifting along aimlessly is usually the one to hit. Just a little bit of information there.
Okay.
It's lost.
It's lost. It was in the dark so long, it got lost.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because I was trying to figure out which one it was, but it was the one that's not trying to kill you that you have to go kill.
Okay.
But there's the that ends that mystery. It was hiding in the black.
Okay.
And that's in a number 3, is it, that you're doing?
Yeah. Well, the important, really high level targets that I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't tried the number 3 yet. The 10 I've been sticking with, and the 55, like I said before, with co-oping it.
I've been doing the 3s for on the map repair.
Cool.
Which fleet are you using?
I am using the bat rays that Kickside gave us.
Okay.
Okay, without the flags.
That's pretty good.
And yes, I have the flag, and I'm also using the Sea Serpent crew.
How are you driving them? Because I've never seen anybody do that yet.
Well, the way I'm doing it, I'm let everything come on and get the Dutchman to run aground, and I'm sitting right on top of it where you cannot be tagged with its cannonballs. If you're sitting right on top of it, manage to move around while you're on top of it from side to side, but keep right on top of it, it can't touch you. We can't, and if you get off course just a little bit, the cannonballs go right over the top of you anyways.
Yep. Just like Catherick said, get on top.
Sounds like this is going to the after show.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I'm going to click on the assault prize here. It's assault I want, right? Top
Yeah.
left.
Top left.
Well,
Yeah. and then watch it change after you do that.
Well, don't you have the opportunity to continue on after it? Once you click it, it says,
Well, it
Yeah.
becomes skirmish in the top left after
Yeah,
you click
then
it.
it changes. It's like it
So
rotating.
what they're saying is you just got to keep an eye on it, because if it changes and then you click on it again,
You're gonna get.
if you haven't realised it's changed, like it's
Right.
happened to me in the raids and that, or you click on one, you go, yeah, I want that, and then you click on it again, yeah, oh damn, I've just
You know,
clicked on something I don't want.
That's happened to me before, but I always thought it was my mistake, and that's what Kix always told me. It was my mistake, and I believed him. So I can blame them for my self-esteem issues.
No,
but
that's-
other than that,
The one I freaking hate is when there's 40 of them
oh,
and
I
it's
know.
halfway down,
And you gotta
right? You click
Yeah.
on it, right, and
This
then it
is
scrolls
where-
away and you scroll down. Oh,
Me,
there it
this
is again.
worse. This is
Oh,
worse.
that's funny. I got lowered penetrative mount.
Yeah.
And the
I
one I avoided getting in the raid.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you got it now.
You don't have to ever avoid it again. Well, maybe you have to avoid it 4 more times, but then never again.
And you never know. It might turn out to be the only thing that works in the raid. We just don't know.
Well,
That'd be funny because almost everybody's saying, "Oh, we're not using that," and then it'll turn out to be one guy uses it and he's just eating them up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a fleet ready for the raid. My goal is to have it ready for the next raid. So I don't know how I'm going to do that if I have to do an immediate refit after. We'll see. I might.
But this is the thing, we're getting the flag next week, or this,
Right.
yeah, next week.
So
But we're
maybe
going to
I'll,
have a week. We're going to have a week to have it built. Really,
Right. Then I'll have 2 ships.
without rank. Without rank.
Well, hopefully they'll throw rank.
They'll do
up.
what they did last time. They'll put VXP tokens in.
But, it's a little scary. We're going into a brand new raid, but we're also going into a brand new pillage, and we're about to go into a brand new FM. So it's like everything's changing on us. There's
But
no.
also with that new flag, we don't know how to build it because we're not sure how these damn things are going to work.
Right.
Is it going to target the first ship? Is it going to target the 5th ship? We have no freaking idea what's going on anymore.
Right.
I have an idea about that accuracy-based stuff. Can't they just take the base damage, divide it by 20%, and have each ship getting hit by that percentage? Let's just say, like, I'll just take 100. You got 5 ships. That's 20% to each hull. For your flagship, take 2% from the rest of them, where it's taking just a little bit more damage. But say the rest of them taking 18% damage from from whatever, and balance it out between each hull, instead of sticking it all on first ship, 5th ship, whatever. Just take your base damage, whatever that's coming at us, divide it by 5, and distribute that out between each ship that we have.
I think that's too complicated. That's
I got
definitely-
confused.
No, I understand. He just explained a way that you can spread out the damage, but
Yeah.
that would be way too complicated. Way too complicated.
Just
for them
for
at this
now, they
moment
just
in
need to
time.
put it back. For now, they just need to put it back the way it was.
Or
Yeah,
leave
yeah.
it.
Until they find
or-
a good solution that they test out.
Right.
You know,
Right.
have
I think-
players test it, have them test it in house, and find a solution that works, that's well thought out, not just like, what they did.
Agreed.
So,
I mean, I don't like it that, even the number 5 ship was taking the most damage. But at least you could swap it.
Good swap.
But didn't we have it at one time where it was evenly?
Yeah, it was splash
Mm,
damage.
well, that was
Yeah,
based
sure.
on ship design and target design.
Right.
And these guys are a little newer at the game, as far as designing the targets and designing the ships. It felt that way, that it was even, and that was appeared to be one of the things that they tested for, because like we talked about before, they would provide more resistance, more armor, and whatnot for the flagship, which was getting aimed at all the time. And so that made it feel like it was getting evenly distributed, but it was aiming at the number 1 ship. But the ships that we have now are not ships, and targets aren't configured that way anymore, and that's part of the problem. I looked at it more as a problem with the targets than the ships, with the way they were doing it, because I asked that they lower the UAV damage in the last thing, and that would fix a lot of the problems.
Yeah,
by
lower the damage.
Well,
Remove some of the unavoidable damage. That's the problem. It's unavoidable damage.
Well, it's unavoidable and accuracy based. It's a combination of the two. The accuracy base concentrates it on one ship.
Right? So they can't change that. So let's lower the damage.
Well, they could fix that, but they just haven't been doing enough testing on the targets and how they interact with the ships, with different driving styles that the players come up with. But even just the generic vanilla driving styles cause these issues that we saw with the Dragoon raid cycle. So, what do we need for pillage? Praetorians and I guess your silverfish again. I drive fish and auto hydras mostly in both teams, even on all ships. Is this recent or is this historical? And it's been so long since I hit those. I think that's mostly splash damage in those targets. And that's could be part of the issues. And those are older targets that were put together by the previous team. And the ships were too. So, well, I don't know about the ships with the fish, but yeah.
Oh yeah, everybody's complaining about the countermeasures and all that. If you have looked all the way to the bottom in the Flying Dutchman briefing, they did state that CMs was not going to work.
Yeah.
On the cannons, which are actually mortars or rockets.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't say, they called them cannons. They didn't say that the CMs were not going to work on the torpedoes that are getting launched. So, just for a little bit of clarification. So, any more Flying Dutchmen and anybody else besides Lady Cat claimed any assault chests?
Nope.
Nope. I'm just getting points right now.
Okay. Alrighty. Sounds good. Let's see what's next. Alrighty. As part of the CM diary, they put out a Happy Halloween picture from the Canada team of Kixeye. So I'm a little curious, what they're dressing up as, each individual one.
Do we get a prize if we guess them right?
Well, you probably already know because I told you who
Tell me someone.
Yeah.
Golden Doodle I can pick out right away.
Yeah, but more it's like, what are they dressing up as, not who they are. And number one, I don't know has anybody watched Jaws? I think number one is Quint. If they do a older version of well, I'm not sure. I think he looks like Quint, the captain from Jaws. If they did a a prequel, back in his earlier days, between the legs and the shorts and the hat, and his experience on the USS Indianapolis delivering the bomb, I really think that's. I'm assuming that's what he's going for. Does anybody else have a guess what he's going for there?
He's a Floridian in the fall. Because when it gets below 80 degrees, we need coats on, but then it'll warm up.
Yeah, he's in Canada. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the Canadians are snowbirds, but I think on Victoria, they go down to like San Diego, LA. But I could be wrong. So, number two.
Lumberjack.
I think he's going for I think he's an extra on Fargo that I forgot. So 3, 4, 5, and 7, I think, are reinterpreting Lost Boys with a twist on it. With I just forgot her name. I was trying. Who's Golden Doodle going for? Jamie Gertz, a blonde Jamie Gertz is what he's going for at that point. But yeah, I don't know. Anybody else has any other interpretations of this? Someone looks like an old, but he's wearing a cape. I mean, I'm assuming that's the reason I went with Lost Boys. 7 and 4. 4 was like some sort of 90s, 80s, 90s sort of fashion thing with the black jacket and whatnot.
Hall and Oates.
Hall and Oates, yeah. Which one though? That's neither one.
3 and 4. Hall and Oates.
that is a good one. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that is a loose interpretation of it, but yeah, I could definitely see that.
Number 6 is anime, some kind of anime.
And Lego's one could be Magnum PI.
Yep, that's a good one.
Yeah, I could see that.
2 is Red from Red Green Show.
Is that a Canadian show?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know that.
And number 2, if you know, is Al from Home Improvements.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, can you tell us who they really are?
I don't know who all of them are. I think pretty much all came out in Discord at some point or another. 3 is Golden Doodle. 4 is Robinson Biggins. From what if I got everything correct, because they were still talking about his hair and his jacket. Supposedly he still is wearing the hair that way today. And then 1 is Half Centaur. 6 is Geely. And I'm not sure who 2, 5, and 7 are.
I would say 2 is Chris.
But Chris isn't based in Canada. Chris is a holdover from San Francisco.
Oh.
So these are all. I don't think 2, 5, and 7 are forward-facing people.
I think 5 is Corbin.
Again, he's not based in Canada.
Oh.
I mean, unless they moved. Customer support was based in Portland. Corbin's been around for a long time, so he's either based in San Francisco or, unless you saw something else that he's moved up there. I don't know that we know enough of because the team is split between Canada, a couple of cities in Australia, some people working in coffee bars in San Francisco, and some portion of the art team in Vietnam. So I don't know that we know these people, all of them. I don't think they're all, I like to call them forward facing. So,
but I love the fact that they posted this picture.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I mean, I think the strongest, I don't know who has the strongest fashion statement. I think
I would go out with number 4.
Yeah, 4 and 1. Well, Golden Doodle with the wig, but the wig doesn't look like he would walk down the street with that wig. I mean, I don't know that Golden Doodle would do that. But I could see Biggins and Half Centaur walking down the street, with this, the no socks with the shorts and the leather jacket. It's a bold statement. If I had that outfit, I would wear it. I'm not sure I would do the 4 anymore. I'm getting too old for the 4, but the 1 I could still do.
Except you'd wear flip flops with socks.
Oh, well, yeah. I don't know. No, I'm just, I like the whole thing. So, all right, let me see.
One more.
No, I'm trying to move some people around. Anybody else have any thoughts on the, and obviously 6 is has got fox ears on. That's Geely. Okay.
Okay, next slide.
Sure.
Couldn't let them have all the fun now, could
Yeah.
we?
Yeah, Lady Cat wanted to put a slide together with the 6 of us that are normally on the show. So
Happy Halloween, everybody.
yeah. Does 4 have a bun in his hair? 4 is no. It's like it's sort of a man bun on top of his head. I'm not even sure where that came from. It's early 90s. I'm not sure. That's why I said they all look like they're Lost Boys. If you've seen the movie. So well. If anybody else would like to join, and
Oh no, the listeners need to guess who these ones are.
well, they're gonna have to, they're gonna have a hard time figuring out who Lady Cat is.
Yeah, I'm a hard one.
That's a toughie.
Mhm.
Not so. Kidding.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody has any guesses.
I think they're in shock. They didn't know we were real people.
It's crickets.
Yeah. Well, they lag a little bit behind us, and then they gotta go through and eliminate who is who. So
Mine's a dead giveaway.
Well, yeah.
yeah, everybody knows who Kenny is. I think, since it is
No.
all his.
Apparently not.
he wears this every day. It's not, it's not a Halloween costume.
I
So,
think he meant Hefe when he said Jeff.
Okay.
he's. So, yeah, some of us are in costume. Some of us.
Some of us are. I look like that all the time.
Yeah. Yes. So. Alrighty. Well,
You can take me off.
If
Sorry.
it's- no, we'll leave this here. I'm just more thinking about winding up the show. If
Yep, that's me. Bottom right.
yep.
Oh.
I'm the redhead.
So yeah, we still got we don't have a lot of guessers yet. So, but I don't know. Is there any parting words? I can put the
Yes, token management.
yeah. Well, we talk. Yeah, token management as far as the flagship.
Yeah, saving your tokens this week and next week while using them next week for the flag.
Yeah, I still am saving my tokens from last week, or my chests from this week, to get the flag built up. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's which should more than built it, because then you have the next group. You have the next group of tokens, so you'll have 18 days of tokens to build it. So you're going to have more than enough. So yeah.
So dumb question again. Number 3. We should have the chests and the tokens now, or we use the tokens now because we're going to get another set.
You're going to keep the tokens, keep the
Chess.
keep the chests.
all through this event.
And yeah, and then unless you got something that's going to be life changing, so to speak,
But
I'm using one because I have some assault tokens. I'm using one to refit my flagship on my Praetorian, and I'm using that to, add more missile defense and whatnot. So, but yeah, otherwise I would save them as much as you can. I still think you're going to have time to get everything built because you're, like I said, you're going to have 18 days. So, yeah, I would keep them, but
You may have to burn a 1-day token, though.
if you burned it last week, because you should be able to go into pillage, earn the ship, and then start the FM, the next week's FM. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't really have to, unless I already burned it. I'm already. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. So nobody guessing that doesn't know.
My parting words of advice is to just find a way to have fun. Don't get so angry in this game. I had to walk away for a couple weeks because I was so angry, and it just wasn't worth it to be that angry. So either have fun or take a break from it.
Yeah, and your tweet about Hong Kong. Yeah, that was,
Yeah, shush.
Yes.
I have a couple of brewskis.
Mhm.
Yeah, have a drink.
Or
Chill
2
out.
or 3 or whatever.
So,
Have fun. That's what it's all about.
okay. Well, I guess if that's it, I'll put the link in case anybody wants to join the after show, and see you all on Wednesday. I can't recall anything that I might be missing.
Founders better half. Good stuff. Okay.
Okay. All right, everybody. See you all on Wednesday, if not before. And good luck with the FM, and then with the Flying Dutchman, and best luck with your chest redeems. So
Yeah, show your chest.
I am the seeker.
Or somebody else's.
what?
I'll save it for the after show.
Okay.